Hi, everyone. This is Crystal of Color Coded Style, and today I am here with June Mines of These Eyes of Mine. Thank you, June, and welcome. Thank you for being here with me
Thank you,
today.
Crystal, for having me.
I'm so excited to speak with you. So, June is an optician here in the DC area, and she sells amazing, unique, beautiful frames and sunglasses as well for those that have a just a flair for fashion. So this is why I wanted to speak with June. And I'm wearing one of the glasses that I purchased from her last year. I love these glasses. I get compliments on them all the time. I'm going to have another pair too here that I also purchased that I'm going to feature as well so everyone can see what June has to offer. So let's get started.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
you
And if
started,
I do say so myself, you look amazing.
thank
Just,
you.
I'm
Thank
just
you so
saying,
much.
okay?
Thank you. So you started working at Woody's, Woodward and Lothrop. Um, which is if for people who may not know, it was a department store in DC. I'm a native Washingtonian, so Woody's was my favorite department store growing up in the 80s and 90s. It's no longer there, but it's a flagship store in DC of the DC area. So, um, how tell me how this experience shaped your career?
So, and when you say that word, Woody's, like Woodward and Lothrop, can't
Right.
even say it anymore. Like it used to roll off my tongue so easily. But it was just, let me just say this. I think we all have a purpose and we also have a calling. And so when the call happens and you accept the calling, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot to turn my phone off. When you accept the calling, so many things can open up for you. And this, I was in high school. I
Mhm.
was in 12th grade. And a friend of mine calls me and she knows that I'm also very good with people. Just, love energy and love people. And she called me and said, "Hey, I'm leaving my job, which happened to be at a optical boutique on the 8th floor.
Mhm.
And she asked me if I would be interested. Now, I had no experience, of course, but, loved people, as I said. So I took the offer,
Right.
and I got in there. And when I tell you that my whole life changed, one, because prior to that, as a kid, I had surgery on my eyes repeatedly.
Oh
And
wow.
this was a huge, when I say huge, it was probably one of the biggest fears that I had going into the ophthalmologist's office and
Mhm.
having my eyes poked at all
Right.
day long, and drops and them tying me down, because back in the 60s, I don't want to tell my age, but back in the 60s,
Mhm.
we they didn't have the technology that they have today.
Right.
So I had what we call strabismus today, when your eye is moving and your eye is over here and
Okay.
you're looking straight ahead, but your eye is over here.
Right.
So both of my eyes were like that, believe it or not. And so certainly this was not the field that I expected to end up in,
Right.
because, hey, it was almost like a trick. Like God was like, okay, well, since this is your fear, let me put you in this very,
Ah.
place,
Right.
so you can work it out at the same time.
Right.
So I took the offer. I started working there, selling eyewear, and
Okay.
in I want to say 80,
Mhm.
in 1980. And I loved it. I just fell in love with it. I loved putting frames on people's eyes and dressing them up, um and it just became a passion, but it was also in me.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. It was just in me.
Mhm.
So it was something that I mastered.
Right.
And shortly after, I moved to Atlanta,
Mhm.
where I got all of my trade, where I started working in a lab, grinding lenses,
Mhm.
filling prescriptions, and we were servicing the whole ATL area. It was um, a family business where they had a, a I'm sorry, a wholesale lab. And
Okay.
so I was able to get all of the sides that I needed to become an optician,
Okay.
uh, meaning you have to have 4 sides and work under an ophthalmologist for 5 years as doing your apprenticeship, and then take a 2-year course and learning how to dispense eyeglasses, how to insert and remove contact lenses, how to grind lenses at a lab, and
Okay.
how to sell. So this is where I am today,
Mhm.
and still love what I do.
Right. Clearly. Anyone that comes to you for glasses can tell that right off the bat.
Thank you.
Where did you develop the love for fashionable glasses? Because we go into an eyeglass store to get glasses. Any regular optician, they're selling just kind of standard eyewear that you see in many different types of stores, but
Mhm.
your glasses are totally different and unique. And where did you get that love?
So believe it or not, I was working at Lens Crafters. I shouldn't have
Okay.
said the name, but it's too late. So most large chains, they have 10,000 of one style, right?
Yeah.
And my job was to, and this is fast forward after I came back 8 years later, I started working different chains in DC.
Hmm.
And my job was to sell as many of that one style as possible
Right.
to as many faces, because back then we were working on commission.
Okay.
And I used to hate coming home. I come home and I would feel so bad
Hmm.
that I lied
Hmm.
about what looked good on people's faces,
Right.
but it was my job. I had to do it.
Right.
And, you know, I would put that frame on 10,000 people and oh, how do I look? Oh, you look great. I
Mm.
hated that. I would
Right.
come home every day and feel bad about my job and feel bad about what I was doing. So I always said to myself, if I ever get my own optical, right, I would do one of a kind,
Right.
because I believe that everyone deserves to have their own look, and it's enough to go around.
Right.
So why should 10,000 people have the same frame?
Right.
That was just my thing.
Wow.
And so when I did start working for myself, I stuck with that. I do one of a kind, unique frames from all over the world, and
Right.
I support people who support us.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and these are a lot of designers who make one of a kind frames as well, and they're fitting all shaped faces and
Exactly.
bodies and eyes and colors, and it doesn't matter.
Right. Right. So how do you source your glasses? And when you started getting these different types of frames that are unique, how did you begin sourcing them and where? I know they're from all over the world, but how did you even start?
So we have vision conferences
Mhm.
4 times a year.
Okay.
One in New York,
Okay.
one in Paris, one in Vegas, and one in Milan.
Got it.
So
Got it.
when I start working for myself, I wanted to find unique frames from all over the world.
Mm.
So I had to go to a place where people from all over the world came,
Right.
and
Right.
we're all under one roof 4 times a year.
Mhm.
And I usually go to the New York and the Paris show. The Milan show is huge,
Okay.
but Somo in Paris is a great show. You get to meet a lot of unique people
Right.
and build relationships with them,
Right.
and you're excited every time they come out with something new.
Yeah.
So that's how I was able to source the unique one of a kind frames.
Got it. And so you go and you make your order. Do you go to specific designers that you really like to their shop?
When you're walking around a convention that's four football fields, you stop at every booth and you see something interesting,
Right.
and it's sometimes you get back to those people, and sometimes once you build a rapport with them,
Right.
then they have your information. Oh, June, when are you, and
Mhm.
that's what you do. But
Right.
you're always open to new styles. I'm so sorry, new styles and new um um unique patterns, because I think every year, if you're an eyeglass connoisseur and you love eyewear,
Mhm.
you want something different all the time. You don't want to, and that's what I encourage people when they come in. I'm like, bring all of your glasses,
Right.
because I want to make sure we're not duplicating the same style,
Right.
because we tend to stick with what we know.
Yes.
And my job is to introduce you to the best possible frame for your face to match up your personality, your style, your what you're doing, and making sure it's fun, you know,
Yeah.
because glasses, when you're picking out eyeglasses, you should have fun doing it. It shouldn't be a hard, stressful situation, you know,
Or a boring one where you're like,
or a
okay.
boring one. Exactly.
And that's exactly what you do. And when I came to you last year, and I can't remember how I found your business honestly, but I'm so
Uh-huh.
glad I did. And like you say on your website, you spend about an hour with people, if not more.
I
And
do.
and you have so much to choose from. And we're trying on about 10 plus frames to see, okay, is the color right? Is the shape right? Is
Hmm.
it speaking to our personality? So how did I know, of course, that's part of the job and learning to work as an optician, but how did you how did you sharpen those skills of how to see, okay, hey, this looks good on this person, not or this doesn't look so good, this color isn't right.
It's a belief.
Hmm.
It's a belief.
Mhm.
I keep telling my clients that I'm joking, but I'm kind of serious at the same time. Like I need to have one of those cowbells. And when we've arrived to that destination of that's the frame, I
Right.
need to go ding, 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 you know, because I'm so sure in my spirit,
Yes.
you know, because I've been with faces for I've been doing this for 43 years.
Right.
And if I haven't mastered what I know, then
Exactly.
something's wrong.
Exactly.
So studying faces, studying personalities, studying, your bridge, your eye setting,
Mhm.
um, your skin tone, you just everything. I think that people don't realize that when you're choosing eyewear, it's very different from shoes or bags or any other accessory because it's what people see when they first look at you. And
Right.
and believe it or not, you know, sometimes you see people, they may look unapproachable, it's the eyewear, or
Mhm.
they may look older,
Mhm.
it's the eyewear,
Mhm.
or they may look, mean, it's the eyewear. So
Right.
when people undress their eyes, you're like, oh, you're
Right.
not as old as I thought you were old.
Right.
Oh, you look as nice as, the next person. But people don't realize that it is what dresses you up in your personality more than anything, more than earrings, more than lipstick, more than hair color, the eyewear, because people naturally want to look at your eyes when they first meet you.
Right.
And so whatever's there in front of your eyes is what they're seeing first, you
Right.
know.
Right.
Mhm.
And how do your clients tell you they find you? And do you have a lot of clients that come in and they have just regular pair of glasses that they got, standard glasses like you used to sell, but they're looking for something different, or maybe they're a little scared to say, hey, let me step out with something new. How do your clients find you, and then how do they find the experience if this is like a first time thing and they're not as stylish as maybe they thought they were, and then when they
Mhm.
get that pair of glasses, they're like, "Wow, this is a new me."
Well, first of all, word of mouth is the most powerful tool there is.
Mhm.
I've never done any advertisement. I've never, I mean, seriously, like it's all been word of mouth. Every client that comes to me has
Mhm.
been told by someone else either that they knew or they didn't know. They
Mhm.
passed them on the street. They're like, "Oh my God, I love your glasses. Where'd you get them from?" And
Yes.
then, they share the information.
Mhm.
So that's the number one tool is word of mouth, because people, when I think it's something about when people see something on someone else
Mhm.
and it looks really good, that they start to trust more
Mhm.
than if they were to look online and see something and not know how it's, gonna look, or
Right.
how is it gonna fit. Because what works for you may not work for the next person. You
Mhm.
could get
Mhm.
your sister in and she could try your frames on and look totally different.
True.
And so that's number one is the word of mouth piece is very.
Hi, everyone. I hope you enjoyed part one of my interview with June Mines of These Eyes of Mine. Stay tuned for part two, airing next weekend, and we'll get more into June's career and just what she does, and it's her inspiration for those who want to venture out and start something new. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Color Coded Style.